This will be my last video. My last take. Take 4. The magic behind the curtain, and it's not that magical. So most people know this is my favorite thing to build, these circles, and I built lots of them. I keep on meaning to build the Enterprise using this circle technique. I just haven't got around to acquiring all the pieces. But anyway, if you saw one of my last videos, I mentioned the wiring and whatever, and that this light was out. It wasn't that it was out, it was that it was pushed underneath during the rebuild. Of course, it's up there now. So to take this corner part to get access to the bottom here, to push the wire through again. So the magic is, we all know that the base plates themselves are 32 by 32. The inside diameter of the circle is 34 studs across. So of course you have to account for the ends here and there. So all I did was I put light gray 1x8 tiles, which also helps hold up these wing plates. But also, again, gets right down to the 32 by 32. The issue, obviously, is that because it's round, the only place that the thing's latched into the layer below is the 2 cross pieces right in the center, across the diameter of the center. So from here all the way over to here, and from here all the way over to here. All these other tangents going into the center are not locked in at all. Now, that said, besides over here, because there's rooms over here, so there's an outside wall and an inside wall, I was able to use these little joists, we'll call them. You can actually see it right there. So there's another wall on the other side. So these joists are pretty much secure. You can't push down on them, or you can push down on them and they're not gonna fall in. These guys over here, because they're in the lunchroom, there's no wall on the inside. It's a bit of a deficiency, because if you touch that, it falls in. The thing is that when this thing is on top, the whole thing's locked together, so it doesn't fall in. But of course, when you have it apart and you touch these things, they fall in. So it's a bit of a deficiency. But of course, also, I did this once, and people are going to hate me for it. I took one of these base plates and I cut off, made it round basically, just so I wouldn't have to do all this work to hold it in place. So, and I didn't like that too much. So I came up with a way, quote unquote, a way of keeping the original base plate hidden. So all these corners are hidden now underneath these wing plates, because it works out perfectly, because you can see the corner comes almost to the hinge piece. So, but again, you have to leave basically 2 plates thickness between what's supporting the bottom of the base plate and what you're going to put on top of the base plate, because again, the studs are in the way and the base plate has a thickness to it. So you have to leave, quote unquote, leave a void of 2 plates. So you can see I got my 1x2s here, and there are 2 plates thickness, because then the base plate can be underneath. And of course, if you get really close, you can see the 1x2 basically touches the edges of the base plate, which stops this thing from rotating, because basically the base plate is floating. Let's say that's a good way of putting it. The base plate is floating. It's not locked in at all. Not even on the diameters. It's not locked in at all. Just basically, it's held under by all the wing plates, and of course, all the wing plates do not latch into the base plate. Right? These guys are latched into these things, but they're floating on top of the base plate. Here, all the way across. Now, these guys that are along the 1x8 tiles, you can push down on, because the 1x8 tiles are holding up the other end. Right? So that's kind of cool. Over here, they work because, again, you have an inside wall there holding up these 2x6s or 2x8s, right? And so you can push down on that, and it's not going to collapse. Here, it's a little different, so you have to be a little more cautious over here, because, again, underneath, there's no support. If I built in supports, I wouldn't have to worry about it as much. But anyway, so the base plate itself is not studded into place. It's actually on my base plates, and even on that guy over there, they're quote unquote floating. They're pinched into place by the top row of wing plates and whatever I have underneath it, right? So it works, because with 36 wing plates holding a base plate overall, like you go like this. Let me do this first. The 1x8 tile. There we go. There you This is awkward with one hand. There we go. The 1x8 tile has to be held up on this side, because this side is studded into place, but this side has to be held up by just resting on top of a tile. So you put this in on top, and it's now locked in, right? And you keep on going around. Let me find the right one. And one of these is going to be, it's going to be that one. So I might have to put this one in place. Oh, that's what I was looking for 5 seconds ago. Let's live and learn. So you can see it's not studded in it, but it's pinched into place between the top and the bottom, so that the actual 32 by 32 base plate is held into place. It's not actually studded into place, and that's sufficient enough for my needs. Your mileage may vary, but for what I needed to do, this thing's not going anywhere, and it's strong enough, right? So, and again, you can put any base plate, you can make any circle you want, and you can just play with the various iterations of the circle. Now, the other thing I absolutely do is you saw you saw that I have the hinge plates on the bottom. I also put the hinge plates on top, and this just reinforces it, because I found out a few times by just using one hinge plate on either top or bottom, there's a lot of stress. If you build one of these circles, get 36 4x9 wing plates. If you get 36 of them and use these, it's not perfect. There is some tension on the actual 1x4 hinge plates here, but in the end, it goes away when you get everything put together like this. So, and it just keeps on going around. Wait, am I missing some hinge plates? Oh, there's one. Oh, the last one, good. I'm also missing 1x4 black. Oh, there it is. So the reason I did this with the two 1x1 rounds is just for the EL wire. Let me just start that over there. The EL wire is basically between the 2x3, the 3x4 and the wing plate. So I needed some space to stay there. And I didn't want to use a big gap, and this just makes it nice that it stays there by itself, underneath a little bit of tension, and you know. So I'm not saying it's like a Simon Liu build where you're half a stud and a prayer, but it's, you know, Simon inspires me to just try out different things, no matter how, you know, I want to use the word esoteric, but that's not really the word. How and not flimsy either, because Simon doesn't build flimsy stuff, but it is for show. It's not to be played with by 5-year-olds. My guy over there, Josh, got at one time, and when he was younger, Simon gave me, and yeah, it didn't last too long. So, but Simon got a Classic Space Unikitty at a deal, and I got that. I think I got the better end of that deal. Thank you, Simon. So then we put this round all the way around. This round EL wire, and it just basically stays in that groove if you make the tension just right. Right. So who could possibly have a problem with that? No clips. No fuss, no muss. It just stays there. And yes, sometimes in transport it slips down because I don't make it stupid tight, but it just stays there because of the 1x1 round plate underneath gives the little gap there. Because again, this is you know math. This is square, and yet this basically whole thing's round. So it ducks in just a little tiny bit, which holds it there enough. And I could have used a 1x2 plate, but that one wasn't nearly as smooth as using the two 1x1 round plates for that. On the top, however, I had to use the clippies, the 1x1 clippies, because of course it's on top. And this is the only place I did this. This was my grand experiment, and I liked it, but I didn't like it enough to do it to all my other base plates. First of all, this is the habitat, and yes, one of the things I wanted to do, and I'm just going to turn off the lights now because that's what I do. I can see it in the dark. Let me just plug this thing in, because this is where I have my fun. You know, you find your joy where you can find your joy. Why is that not plugging in? This is why you set things up once and then forget about it. Where's the top? Where's the top? There we go. And let me just walk back here. Get the light switch. Something about Christmas time. And so now all the lights are lit up on top, which is making me happy. You can see the LH01, and you can also see the as I said before, the big LED shining down and reflecting off and making that thing bright. But of course, you don't notice that when there's a spaceship on top. Since this was the Habitat building, so I had a few iterations. The original was where these 4 stud wands are, yellow wands. That's where the EL wire was originally. And I didn't mind that too much. But I wanted to move it to the center to see how that looked. So that was an experiment. And I did it here first, and I'm only going to do it here going forward. I'm not taking it off because this is the Habitat, and the Habitat's for smaller spaceships. It's not supposed to be for Galaxy Explorers. And then we get this guy, and we put him on, and we say, hey, look at that. This is why I love my spotlights. The debate right now is 2 spotlights or 1 spotlight, because one's pretty good, right? I might only need 1 instead of 2. Let's see if I get 2 on there. Let's find my other one in the park. 2 is only if the ship's parked this way, right? So that's my next debate, whether or not I use 2 spotlights, 2 sets of spotlights, rather than 1. Especially this one's stupid bright and this one's not, so this must be regular, the soft white. I must have made a mistake, because that's a lot. Well, it's not bad either, right? You get to see the ship, because without it, the ship's in darkness, right? And again, what on the Habitat, as I said before, what's going good for the Habitat is I do have this extra EL wire on top, which none of the other landing pads have, right? So that does help light up the ship. That's why I'm leaving it there. But when you're doing a show and you want people to see stuff, you want people to see the spaceship. And again, this spaceship is not lit up yet. Of course, that's something I'm going to be doing. There we go. I think right now 1. I think 1's sufficient. Especially, yeah, I don't mind that. I'll see. I'll bring all of them. At our next show, you guys can tell me if you like the 1 or 2. But it took a lot of work to get the 36 4x9 wing plates working in the circle. I remember doing that originally when I was modifying the layout after BrickVet 2011, because I used, I'll show you, if you actually look at the original videos, I used these guys. I used these guys for trying to make it round. And so I had 1, 2, and 2 in the bottom, 4, 4, 8, 12, 16 per landing pad on top of the station. So I had 72 altogether. It was a stupid number. And I still didn't like the look. I honestly didn't like the look. I mean, it's more octagon-ish. And these actually locked into the base plate, like not like this thing. And so when I came home, I tried various iterations. And of course, what set me on to that, and I haven't got one out here right now, but if you look at the actual space station, I used the original 4x8, the original 4x8 wing plates that are there for the actual space station, for the roofs. So you got that nice curve of that, and that's only a 16. You need 16 wing plates if you're going to make that circle. So I started playing with wing plates to see how many different diameters I could make. And I even used these one time and just made that into a circle. And that made a pretty nice circle too. I used that in a building that I've since taken apart. But I wanted to talk about that and showing you, it's one of the things I was going to do, but I'm not going to do now that I got that light fixed. I was going to make it so I could take this top off easily and put tiles, like build it so you can just pop it off, like only held in place by 3 or 4 studs. But I put the kibosh in that. It's working now. I don't plan on taking it apart anymore. I'm not going to run any more wires in here. I am not going to light up oh, for crying out loud. I'm losing words. This is bothering me. The train station, the platforms. There you go. I'm not going to light up the platforms on the outside. I was going to do that with a Rob Hendricks basic kit and just have like 3 downward facing underneath here, 3 downward facing lights on each level. That would have been 9. That's going to take a major rework because I have to take each level apart to build that in. And so I'm not going to. That's going to be later. If I ever get to the point where I have something else to do that I want to do, like a major refit. But right now I'm thinking, now that I got these spotlights on there, which is a deficiency that I had before, the only deficiency with the spotlight is I have to hide this white thing. And I can't very well. I have a tough time. I mean, I hid the front with that blue piece, and not too many people are going to notice the white there, but it bothers me. So I'm trying to figure out how to hide that white. But of course, you got the hinge, the edge of the hinge there, so you can't use that stud to block anything onto. And I don't want to raise it up anymore, so I can't put a piece underneath it so I can get more stuff. I can use the 1x2 L pieces, plates, and maybe try that. Maybe I'll try that. Anyway, that's it. That's all. It's just the thought I just had right now. So I might start building that, and maybe I'll take a picture and put it up on my Facebook. But for now, besides that little modification, I'm going to box this up, put it back into the box down there, and I'm going to grab the next box. I have to light up the 4 landing pads on the big building, and I've got some ideas for that. So, but it won't be like this. It'll be something completely different. Because that's what I want to do. I want to try something and see what happens. So I will talk to everybody soon. I hope everybody's having a Merry Christmas. I know I had a really good morning so far, morning to the afternoon. We had a beautiful Christmas morning together, unwrapping presents. We're not going anywhere today. Today is because of everything that's going on in the world. We are staying home. And we're loving our time together. So, but for a couple minutes, I decided to hang out in the Lego room. So I will talk to everybody soon. Everybody stay safe. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. And I will talk to you later.